Hello there. Now that is a fairly serious video title, isn't it? But it's for good reason, and you'll see why. But we've done a few of these now, and we're going to look into another qualifying session from britishgt in 2020. We've seen at Donington and Brands Hatch, my favourite track, which is in the card above. It's gone well so far, and this one's a bit different, so you'll see why. But as always, please give the video a like if you like it before you click off the video. And yeah, I appreciate you watching it, so enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so in pit lane, behind an Aston Martin, there's worse views to have in front of you, but it's an immensely important session, this one, because we're in a championship fight, the final round of the calendar of britishgt last year in Silverstone. It was all to play for. You know, we were the underdogs in the championship, but we still had a chance, definitely, and all the mentality in the garage was put it on pole, win the race, see what happens to everyone else, and who knows, we could be debut winners of the britishgt championship. And that was going through my head all weekend. I was pumped. There was not an inch of nervousness, is that a word? Or nerves. There weren't any nerves really. It was all just send it and do as well as we can, and it should pay off. So obviously it didn't, because I'm not sat here as a britishgt champion, but I honestly feel like we could have if the season went differently in certain areas. I think we did everything we could, but we just got a little bit unlucky. But on the warm-up lap, and we know the procedure, if you've seen the other two videos, it's all about warming up those tyres and brakes in that specific way where you turn and you brake and you turn and you brake, you do it again, but also finding the space in front of us to get clear laps. And you can see there's a few cars ahead of us. It's not like a game where you get like a map overlay that you can check where the cars are, so it's purely what you can see on the track. And you can see on this little, on the what is the main straight or the pit straight in F1. In GT racing, for some reason they use the other circuit, so the start-finish straight is the old one, and turn 1 is Cops, to give you a reference. But we're just focusing on heat, because it was so cold as well. It was in November, Silverstone, which is quite unique for britishgt. It never usually runs that far into the year, but that's COVID for you. It delayed everything. So our car didn't seem to work very well in the colder conditions, hence why over the course of the year we got weaker. So we won the first race, and then it didn't go downhill, but we weren't as competitive. So we should have got a lot better, because obviously I was new, but then I got better. But the car just didn't react very well in the colder conditions. So as we come to the end of the warm-up lap, so the confusing thing here is that some of the cars in this session are GT3s, obviously. GT4s don't share the track with the GT3 cars, but unfortunately there's another category called GTCs. Now GTCs, they're all Ferraris in this particular instance, but they're really quick on the straights, really slow in the corners, and they're going to be a pain in the arse throughout the whole session, you'll see soon. So the first lap, turn 1, bit of understeer mid-corner down to 4th gear for Cops. We lose a bit of time there, but we know it's a banker, it's a cold day, the tyres aren't going to be in on the first lap. So Maggots, it's all a bit timid at the moment, but 4th gear for Beckett's, down to 3rd for Chapel. Missed the curb on the apex there, which isn't ideal. You can use a lot of the track, more than you think. So in terms of the practice I had before this, we did an hour session the day before on the Friday, and then we had 2 1-hour sessions on the day, on the Saturday. So I've had a few laps, to be fair. I've had, I guess, 25 laps, something like that. So I'm kind of in the groove. Going into Abbey, 2nd gear. In the game, in ACC you use first, but 2nd gear in IRL. And we're coming out to a GTC car in front of us, that Ferrari. And you'll see on the straights, just as quick as us, in the corners, immensely slow, which is the worst kind of traffic because you can't really get past them on the straights. Going through the new section of the circuit, and we're going to get held up here, and there's more GTC cars ahead, so we can't do anything really. We can use our qualifying session to get through all of them, but we're going to get held up every single lap. So what I'm going to do next is kind of crucial to the session later on. So I'm frustrated because we've been held up. I'm going to pull over to the left. I think it's this lap, yeah. I'm going to slow down a lot because I don't want that traffic. So I'm just focusing on getting as much space as possible. To be honest, I'm slowing down probably a bit too much, and this is something you should do on your first outlap, because then you can get in the groove, you can get the tyres in the window, whereas I've got them in or near the window, and now I've completely backed off. I have to reset, and I've got one less lap to do the job. And as we know, these British GT sessions, they're 10 minutes long. It's not a lot of time to get a lap in. So we're going again, another hot lap. And the tyres are going to be pretty cold still. And as I say, it was so cold, the tyres would just drop off in heat like that. Down to 4 for turn 1. A little bit of curb on the inside. There's a car rejoining the track there, a McLaren. But he doesn't get in our way, so that's good. Going into Maggots. Down to 5th. So the curb on the inside of Maggots was quite aggressive. And in practice, I was yeeting it, basically. I was going all over it. It was noisy, but it was quicker because you can kind of make the angle of the corner for Beckett's a bit more shallow, which is better. But they were worried, the team were worried about the car becoming a bit damaged from that. And to be fair, in quali it would have probably been alright, but in the race especially, they were like, just lay off that curb, because lap after lap there may be some risk of causing some damage. Down to 2nd gear for Abbey. So far it's a decent banker. It's all a bit of oversteer on the exit there, so the tyres probably weren't in the window. Yeah, I remember, to be honest, this whole weekend we were struggling with the setup, and we hadn't really had that, apart from the wet conditions where we were struggling so bad. But in the dry, we kind of, whatever we did in the dry worked. Whereas a Silverstone, which, if you know ECC, you know Silverstone is a McLaren circuit. It's McLaren's strongest track on the game. We thought it'd be a similar case in real life because there's loads of high-speed corners. The McLaren has a lot of downforce, a few heavy braking zones as well, which really suits the McLaren. It just didn't work. Like, the setup issue we had was that the tyres on the front, so the front axle was scrubbing in medium to high-speed corners, so we got understeer. So it was really weird, and I think, as I say, it was temperature related, but we couldn't get on top of it, and we did a decent job, and you'll see that in a minute. But yeah, it wasn't like the balance we had at Brands or Donington, but we expected it to be even stronger at this track, and it was weaker. So first lap 59.0, solid lap. So on ACC you're doing 56s, 55s. It's always slower in real life, especially on a big track like this. So we're coming up behind a 2Cs McLaren, so GT3, so it's still traffic. We're clearly quicker. GTC car ahead of him, so this lap looks to me is it's going to be a bit of a write-off, because the GT3 it's not going to let us past. So this lap's kind of a write-off. And as we know, especially on a long track like Silverstone, you only get 3 or 4 laps maximum, and then the session's over. So that's compromised our line into Stowe, and we lose time there. It's game over on that lap, so we're going to have to reset. Still go quickly to keep the tyres in the window. If you slow down, the tyres will cool down, the brakes will cool down, and you won't be able to go again the next lap. So I'm thinking about the next lap. And to be honest, on top of the setup issues in this session, the reason in the practice we felt like we were quick, so you can kind of gauge where everyone is relative to you. But then came quali, and I don't want to spoil the video, but we weren't where we wanted to be. So there was a few rumours going round that something had happened, like, you know, in GT racing there's the BOP. So the BOP works in a way where the championship can add weight onto your car, take away weight, or add boost, reduce boost on the turbocharged cars. Yeah, we were a bit dubious as to what was going on, to be honest, and that may have resulted in the result we didn't want. But so you can see we backed off from the 2Cs McLaren now for the next lap, fully preparing for the next lap. So far 59.0 is not a bad lap, but you saw it wasn't on the limit. There was a couple of mistakes, the tyres weren't in the window. So I don't know, but I'm convinced at this point in the session it's not good enough for pole, so I need to do another good lap. So starting lap number 3, going into Copse, braking just after the marker down to 4th, heavy on the brakes to get the nose in, get on the power reasonably early there, and then heading down towards Maggots Beckett's, my favourite section of corners in the GT car. I've not driven many cars, but use a lot of the curb on the inside, which goes against what I said last lap. Down to 4th for Beckett's, down to 3rd for Chapel. Good exit, and now we've got the sun in our eyes going down to Stowe, which doesn't look it on the onboard, but it was really annoying. It got in the way, I'm not going to lie, because it was just below the windshield, so quite blinding going into Stowe. And we run wide, but we get a late apex, get on the power, I don't know if this is our last lap. It might well be, because it's such a long lap. Yeah, I think this might be the last lap. So down to second gear. Good apex there. We just get really close to the curb. Don't hit it though, because those sausage curbs are really aggressive. You'll ruin your lap if you go over them. I'm pretty sure this is the final lap. So that is why the video title was Delivering a Lap Under Pressure, because this was the final lap and we hadn't got a decent lap until this point. Fifth gear for Abbey. Through Village. And you can just see the front of the car like scrubbing and understeering through Village, which is not ideal. Down to second. Then for the loop, nice late apex down to first. We struggled with the stability here. So you can see the car was a little bit oversteery. A GTC car ahead of us. So I'm up on the Delta. You can see above my right hand it's green. Oh, God, yeah, that GTC car was so close. We got so lucky. You'll see going through Luffield, or Brooklands even, down to second. Late apex, avoid the curb on the inside. Then kind of V off Luffield. The GTC car, look how slow it is in the corners, but fortunately for us on the exit, we get a little bit of a tow. It doesn't really make any difference. I remember looking on the Delta and I couldn't see it go up, but it doesn't get in our way, and across the line, 58.78. So that is the end of qualifying, because if you saw across the line there was a checkered flag, end of the session. And we got the lap in at the death, and it was really crucial because a 58.7 put me P2, 2 tenths off the pole position time. I think it was Rob Collard in the Lamborghini. But behind us, it was really close. So a 59.05 would have put us 4th. So we ended up starting 4th overall, but in this session I was 2nd. And if I finished further behind in this session, we could have been right in the midfield. So for a championship fight, crucial. Was really happy with the lap. I knew it was the final lap. I remember Connor coming onto the radio and saying that this is going to be the final lap, so I had to deliver it. There was a few mistakes at Stowe with the sun in your eyes. I kind of missed the apex a little bit, and the loop as well. It was a bit oversteery. I could have controlled that maybe better, but overall it kept us in the mix for the championship. We finished 2nd in the race. Well, no, we finished 3rd in the race, my bad. So it didn't turn out well because we didn't win the championship. We could have won the race, just a few things didn't go our way. But yeah, that was delivering a lap under pressure in real life. So it's a challenge on the sim and in real life to do that, and I don't really know how to explain how to do it. It just is something within you which you just pull out. But I hope you enjoyed that insight. So we're on the in lap and we're going to go and park up, give it to Michael, and he ends up doing a really good lap to put us P4 on the grid overall. So yeah, thank you for watching the video as always. Sub up to the channel if you do enjoy this kind of stuff. There's more stuff to come like this on top of the gaming content. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed making this video as I do with the IRL videos. Very good fun. But yeah, take care. See you soon. And I'll see you on the next one.